Welcome to the sleepy underworld, a place where romance blooms, magic sparkles, and timeless fairy tales are reimagined for the dreamers of today. From heart-stirring romances to spellbinding adventures, every story is a soothing escape into a realm of love, wonder, and charm. So curl up, press play, and let us carry you away to the land of dreams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. We'd love to know in what part of the world you are watching and what is your favorite tip for a good night's sleep. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video. The waves whispered my secrets as I watched him from beneath their crystalline surface, the moonlight filtering through the water in ribbons of silver. I had ruled these waters for centuries, commanding currents and calming storms with mere thoughts, my magic flowing through the seas like liquid starlight. But now, watching Captain Evander stand at the helm of his ship, his dark hair tousled by the salty breeze and his strong hands gripping the wheel, I felt powerless for the first time in my immortal life. His fingers danced across the strings of a battered lute, weathered by sea spray but still singing true. The melody pierced through the barrier between our worlds, each note resonating in my chest, as if he played upon my heartstrings instead. The song spoke of loss, of battles fought and comrades fallen, and I could taste the salt of unshed tears mixing with the eternal sea around me. I knew every note by heart, having watched him play it night after night as his ship crossed my waters, the music becoming as much a part of me as the tides themselves. My name is Cordelia, and I was, a sea sorceress, my domain stretching from the sun-dappled shallows to the darkest trenches where ancient creatures slumber. That changed the night I broke our most sacred law and saved him, though I would break 1,000 more laws just to see his smile again. The storm had come without warning, even to one as attuned to the ocean's moods as I. Lightning split the sky like silver serpents, and waves rose like mountains around his ship, their peaks crowned with angry foam. I watched in horror as a massive swell swept him overboard, his lute still clutched in his hands, his body small and vulnerable against the ocean's fury. Without hesitation, I surged forward, my powerful tail cutting through the churning waters, the scales gleaming with their own phosphorescent light. His eyes met mine as I wrapped my arms around him, his eyes the color of storm clouds, wide with wonder rather than fear. Their depths held such pain, such loneliness, that I felt it echo in my own immortal heart. In that moment, as the storm raged around us, and his warmth seeped into my cold skin, I knew I would risk everything to see those eyes again, to understand the stories written in their stormy depths. The ancient temple of the banished ocean god lay in the deepest trench of my realm, where even the bravest of my kind feared to swim. Marble columns, green with age and draped in luminescent seaweed, rose from the darkness like the ribs of a long-dead leviathan. Strange, eyeless creatures darted through the shadows, drawn to the last remnants of the god's power. The god himself appeared as a swirling mass of darkness, his voice echoing through the water like distant thunder, making my bones vibrate with its power. "Your heart betrays you, little sorceress," he said, tendrils of shadow caressing my face like ice-cold silk. How amusing that one who has commanded the seas for so long now wishes to be bound by human flesh. Tell me, what makes this mortal worth such a price? I lifted my chin, meeting his gaze. 3 swirling vortexes of ancient power. Love makes fools of gods and mortals alike. Name your price. His laughter shook the temple foundations, sending centuries of accumulated sand swirling through the water. Your voice, for starters, such a powerful thing, a sea witch's voice. And pain, every step you take on land will feel like walking on broken glass dipped in lightning. You have 3 lunar cycles to win his love. If you fail, your soul is mine, and your waters will fall to chaos. Choose carefully, little witch." I nodded without hesitation, my heart thundering against my ribs. The transformation felt like being torn apart and stitched back together with burning thread, every scale ripped away, every gill sealed shut. My tail split into legs with a pain that would have made me scream if I still had a voice. Instead, I watched in silent agony as my voice dissolved into sea foam, carrying away centuries of spells and songs. The pain was excruciating, but nothing compared to the agony of my first steps on the beach near Evander's coastal kingdom, each footfall sending shocks of white-hot pain through my newly formed legs. A fisherman found me wrapped in seaweed and sailed me to the harbor, his weather-beaten face kind as he draped his rough wool cloak around my shoulders. Word of a mysterious woman discovered on the shore spread quickly through the port town, whispers following me like trailing seaweed as I was led through streets that smelled of salt fish and fresh bread, eventually reaching the castle where Evander served as the kingdom's naval commander. I will never forget the moment he first saw me on land. The morning sun caught the silver threads in his dark hair, and those storm-gray eyes widened with recognition, not of who I truly was, but of something familiar he couldn't quite place. Something that called to him as surely as the sea itself. He offered me shelter in the castle, moved perhaps by the same inexplicable pull that had drawn me to him, his calloused hand gentle as he helped me up the stone steps. Each day brought new challenges and discoveries. The pain of walking was constant, like treading on shattered stars, but I learned to dance through it, expressing through movement what I could not say in words. I watched Evander closely, learning the weight he carried in the set of his broad shoulders, the shadows that crossed his face when thunder rolled in from the sea. The war had left more than physical scars. He blamed himself for leading his men into an ambush that cost many lives, their ghosts haunting him in the quiet hours before dawn. At night, I would find him on the battlements, playing his lute to the sea as if seeking answers in its endless depths. I began to dance to his music, my feet bleeding in my silk slippers but my heart soaring with each turn. Sometimes, he would watch me with an intensity that made my heart race, as if trying to understand the emotion I poured into every movement. His music would change then, becoming something softer, sweeter, a melody that spoke of hope rather than regret. Lady Miranda, a nobleman's daughter with eyes like green glass and a smile that never reached them, watched our growing closeness with venomous intent. She had set her sights on Evander long ago, seeing him as her path to power within the court. Her whispered rumors painted me as a spy, a witch, if only she knew how close to the truth she was. Each word she spoke dripped with honey-coated poison, designed to plant seeds of doubt in Evander's mind. As the second lunar cycle waned, painting the nights with its silver light, Evander began to thaw. He spoke to me of the battle that haunted him, of the weight of command and the price of survival. I listened, offering comfort through touch, a hand on his arm, fingers entwined with his, my thumb tracing the scars that marked his skin. Each contact sent sparks through my body, worth every step of pain, every silent scream, every moment of vulnerability. But Lady Miranda wasn't finished with her schemes. She arranged for letters to be discovered, suggesting I was an agent of an enemy kingdom. Each forged document, a carefully crafted arrow aimed at Evander's heart. He defended me before the court, his voice ringing with conviction, but I saw doubt cloud his eyes like gathering storm clouds. The pain of his uncertainty cut deeper than my cursed feet ever could. The final lunar cycle began with a storm that rivaled the one that had brought us together. Lightning turned night to day, and thunder shook the castle walls like the footsteps of giants. As rain lashed against the windows, Miranda confronted Evander with her most damning evidence: fabricated documents bearing my real identity, sealed with stolen wax and forged with malicious care. I knew I had to choose before the rising tide of lies drowned what we had built. That night, I took Evander's hand and led him to the shore. each step sending shards of agony through my legs. The waves called to me, singing of home and power and freedom from pain. But as I looked into his storm-gray eyes, now dark with concern and confusion, I knew I would choose this agony 1,000 times over. I pressed his hand to my throat, letting him feel the smooth skin where my voice should have been. Then I drew symbols in the wet sand, telling him everything. What I was, what I had sacrificed, why I couldn't speak. With each revelation, I prepared for rejection, for disgust, for fear. My heart pounded against my ribs like waves against a cliff, threatening to break me apart. Instead, he pulled me close, his arms strong and sure around me, his warmth chasing away the chill of fear. "I hear you," he whispered against my hair, his voice rough with emotion. "I've always heard you. In every dance, every touch, every silent moment, you've been singing to my soul." The kiss that followed felt like breaking through the surface after a deep dive. That first, desperate breath of air. His lips were soft against mine, tasting of salt and something sweeter, something purely him. Love bloomed between us like coral, beautiful and strong and slowly built. His hands cradled my face as if I were something precious, something worth protecting, worth cherishing. His lips found mine again and again, each kiss a different kind of magic than any I had known beneath the waves. The ocean god appeared as the third moon reached its peak, his darkness spreading across the water like spilled ink. "How disappointing," he said, his voice carrying across the waves like an Arctic wind. "I had so looked forward to claiming your soul. The chaos we could have created together would have been magnificent." Evander stepped forward, his lute in hand, and his eyes blazing with determination. "You can't have her," he declared, his voice steady and strong against the god's ancient power. "Bold words from a mortal," the god sneered, his form writhing with shadows. "What could you possibly offer in exchange? What could equal the power she would have brought to my realm?" Evander began to play, not his usual melodies of loss and regret, but something new. A song of love and redemption, of finding light in the darkest depths, of two hearts beating in perfect harmony despite all odds. As the music swelled, I felt power surge through me, ancient and new all at once. My voice returned in a rush, joining his song in perfect harmony, our music weaving together like streams joining a river. The god recoiled as our combined music wove a spell more powerful than any I had cast before. Love, I realized, was its own kind of magic, one that even the oldest gods must respect. It flowed between us like a current, strong and deep and endless, more powerful than any curse or blessing. "Keep your soul," the god spat, his form already fading like mist before the morning sun. "And your voice. But the pain remains, a reminder of your choice, of what you gave up for this mortal love." I turned to Evander, touching his face, memorizing every line and plane by touch. "Every step is worth it," I said, speaking to him for the first time, my voice rough from disuse but full of love. "Every moment of pain brings me closer to you. I would walk through fire just to see you smile." He kissed me again, and I tasted salt. Whether from tears or sea spray, I couldn't tell. "Then let me carry you," he whispered, lifting me into his arms as if I weighed nothing at all, as if he would gladly bear any burden to ease my pain. "Let me be your shelter, as you have been my light." That night, as we lay together watching the stars wheel overhead, I understood that true love isn't about sacrifice, it's about choice. Every day, I choose him. Every step, every pain, every moment of vulnerability is a choice I make gladly. And every night, as he plays his lute and I sing our story to the waves, I know I always will. The sea still calls to me sometimes, its voice familiar and sweet, promising power and freedom from pain. But I have found a different kind of magic in Evander's arms, in the way he looks at me as if I'm something precious, in the gentle way he tends to my feet each night with hands that have known both battle and tenderness. We have built a life between two worlds, not quite of the sea, not fully of the land, but perfectly our own. And when the pain threatens to overwhelm me, when I doubt my choice to walk this path, Evander reminds me that love isn't measured in steps or words or grand gestures. It's measured in the small moments, his fingers entwined with mine as we watch the sunset, the soft brush of his lips against my temple when he thinks I'm sleeping, the way he still watches me dance as if seeing me for the first time. In these moments, I know that no magic could ever compare to the miracle of finding someone who sees your soul and loves you, not despite your sacrifices, but because of them. I may no longer command the tides, but I have found a different kind of power in loving him. It flows between us like an eternal current, strong and deep and endless. And that, more than any magic, more than any power or immortality or painless step, is worth every price I paid to find it. For in his arms I have found something even the ancient gods cannot grant. A love that transforms, heals, and makes every moment of pain bloom into something beautiful.